Hey guys, it's Josh and Ashton here. We're actually in a hotel room because the travel nurse life, but this is our first video, and you can see on our Instagram name, it's the Berlin Adventure, because we want to post all of our adventures and travels and all the fun things we get to do. So we're super excited about this, and we thought, what other adventure to share than the one during Christmas break? A lot of people don't know about it, or they know like a little bits and pieces. So we just wanted to tell it and share what God did, and hope y'all enjoy it. So when did we leave? It's been so long ago. December 14th?
It was on a Monday night, right?
This is a good start. Hopefully remember remember the adventure, but...
We left on a Monday night though, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because Josh thought it was a good idea to drive through the night, and we were going on a long Christmas break, and we wanted to take like a mini vacation before. So we went to San Antonio, and we drove through the night, like he said. That was pretty crazy in itself, but we made it there the next morning. It's like a 12-hour drive, I think.
Yeah.
And we packed all of our food to heat up like in the hotel and stuff, and we get there and they actually don't have a microwave, and it was a really fancy hotel, so we kind of wasted some food, but that's okay.
I had the cold pigs in the blanket.
Oh yeah, he did eat all the cold pigs in a blanket that I made before, which was pretty nasty, but anyways. So we just had like a few days there, super fun. We got to explore the San Diego Zoo. San Antonio. Did I say that?
San Antonio.
San Antonio Zoo. They had like all the Christmas lights, and then we got to go to diners and drive-ins and dives restaurant. It was super good. And we explored the San Antonio Riverwalk, which was gorgeous. Had over like 100,000 lights, 10,000. I don't know. It was a lot of lights. So it was a super neat vacation. What?
I said too many lights to count.
Oh yeah. And so we left and we went to Mississippi, from San Antonio, Mississippi, to see my brother, and then we made it to my house Sunday, the week of Christmas, I think. And it was really fun to get to see everybody again, since it's been the first time since we've been married, going back, both of us together. And then the 23rd, I went hunting with Jay, and my throat was kind of hurting, but it was kind of like a start of a sore throat. Josh unfortunately had to work, so he couldn't go hunting. But he was planning to go hunting on Christmas Eve that morning, and we got up, and I was feeling fine. Josh really wasn't feeling too good. Was that on the 24th, right? Christmas Eve?
No, the 23rd, right?
You didn't feel good?
Yeah, when we went to go watch the lights and eat.
Oh yeah, so 23rd we had like a little Christmas. Sorry, you don't have to excuse us for all the days all ran together. But the 23rd we had a little like church, or some of us got together and we went up to go see like a drive-through like Christmas thing that was really cool. And Josh hadn't ate all day, and if you know Josh, you know that he likes to eat, not in a bad way, but he likes to eat. And
it's for the gains.
Yeah, for all the gains. Oh my word. And but we went to this Mexican restaurant, and Josh hadn't ate anything all day, and he like just got full super quick, didn't get like finish his meal or anything. So obviously like something was up then. And then that next morning I felt fine, but he wasn't feeling too good. And since my grandmother lived with us, we wanted to go get tested just to make sure and keep everyone safe. So we go to the little doc in the box, and it came back positive. Like, that's pretty much it.
Positive for what?
Oh, COVID. If that's not new these days. But yes, we were positive for the coronavirus. And she just came in. The nurse practitioner was really nice, and she was like, yeah, we're both positive. And we're like, what? And we didn't really like feel too bad. We just felt like a little different. And we came back home. Josh got his first steroid shot.
Yeah.
So what did you ask to do?
So then I had to go lift weights afterwards to take advantage of the steroid shot.
But his wife didn't let him.
And then we got McDonald's coffee for the gains right afterwards.
And it was really nasty. But we still could taste, so that was a good thing, I guess. And then we go back home and, we tell them that, we were positive, my family, because we were living out in a camper in our yard. So we got to stay there and be quarantined. But my family was already exposed to us, unfortunately. But we were just trying to maintain a little distance, wear our mask and stuff, because we didn't want to get them sick. But we were already planning to leave Christmas Day to go to his family. And they were already getting over the virus. And so they were like, you come on up, we don't mind. And so Christmas morning, after opening presents and being with my family, keeping distance, that is, they were on the other side of the room, and me and Josh were over there isolated. But we still had a good time with them, and then we left to go to Tennessee. And then a strange thing happened. This is one of the first strange things. Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, there was a suicide bomb in Nashville, Tennessee, that blew up the cell phone tower. So anyone who had AT&T cell service was out of service during our time there. So luckily I had Verizon, so I was fine. But
he could have probably made a lot of money off people if they needed to use phone service. But out of all the strange things that 2020 was going on, it was almost 2021. Service went out for 31 hours, which is crazy right now because everyone has their phones. They don't know what to do without them. So that was the first strange thing that happened. But we got to spend more quality time with his family because we didn't have our phones. So we played a lot of card games and just got to talk and catch up since we hadn't seen them either in a while. So that was really nice. And then that evening we opened presents with his family. And I don't remember, one of his siblings or somebody got a candle, and we were all seeing if we could smell, which we both had our smell and taste the whole time. Until that night, I tried to smell the candle, and I couldn't smell. And I was like, what? I knew I could just smell. And we had just had supper before, so it was we could taste it, but you could still smell the candle, right? But it was me, and then I think Joy couldn't smell it. I don't remember. Well, then that next morning, we woke up, and then I lost my smell and taste, and he could still taste and smell everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess that night is when I started getting really sick. I don't, honestly, from the 26th of December till when we got home, my days have ran together, so I don't really know when I got sick, but I think it was that night. I got super sick, and
yeah,
I'm trying to think what else happened. Well, pretty much it.
Yeah, you kind of just laid in bed.
Yeah,
For 2 or 3
Josh was
days.
taking good care of me, and he was trying to push food and fluids, and I didn't really want to eat or drink anything, one, because I couldn't taste it, and things just had this weird taste to it. And then I just tried to rest, and I remember literally feeling I was sweating out my skin, I was so hot. And if he it gave me a hug or just be close to me, he would just say I'm burning up. And at night I couldn't lay down. It started hurting to breathe, and I was coughing, which I knew were the effects of COVID, but I didn't really think they would get too bad. And I don't know what day of the week that was, but the days after I just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I wasn't sleeping at night. I would just go and get in the shower and just stay there because I felt I could breathe easier. And it would be 2 a.m.
I was zonked to sleep.
Yeah, he was out a light, but I'm glad he was sleeping and not super sick. But then the next morning he would bring me down breakfast. I think one day I stayed in bed till 12:30, 1 p.m. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was very long. And then, so we were supposed to be back in Tucson January 3rd. And this was I don't remember.
It was the 30th, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Whatever that Tuesday was.
Yeah, the 29th, I think.
I was just getting super bad. It was really hurting to breathe. I couldn't take deep breaths. And so we went to the emergency room, which was a crazy adventure because usually that hospital is pretty quick, gets you in and out. And we sat in the waiting room for how long? 5 hours?
Yeah, I think it's like at least 5 hours.
5 hours.
It was almost 6 hours, yeah.
And they finally like call us back, but in all we were there for like 12.
Yeah, we were probably there for about 12 hours.
I don't honestly remember, but I had to get fluids, and the doctor came in, listened to my lungs, and he was like, obviously, like, this is effects of COVID, but we're going to get a chest x-ray, make sure everything's okay. And then the chest x-ray came in. He read it, and he was like, wow, like, your lungs look way awful than what they, like, actually sound like. And he said you have bilateral pneumonia in both lungs, like, from COVID. And so we're like, okay, like, what's the next step? So he sent me home with an albuterol, like an inhaler. And I kind of felt better, honestly, after that because of the fluids, and I knew I was dehydrated. But he was like, buy a pulse ox and make sure that, like, if your oxygen goes below 90, you need to go to the emergency room. And he knew we would be traveling that next day. So that Wednesday we left, and we stopped in... Was anything crazy happen on Wednesday? I don't think so.
It started like raining as soon as we pulled out of my parents' driveway. Like,
That's
it started
true.
raining. Like, bad weather, like, immediately once we started driving
That is
back.
true.
And it stayed that way the entire time.
And then I think we
They
stopped
just progressively got worse.
somewhere around Dallas, or...
Yeah, we stopped at Sonic, and they took forever. There's like 30 minutes to get us our 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, so I had to go like...
It must have been a gourmet grilled cheese.
I had to go like beat the door down and talk to the manager, but...
And then the guy... when
he gave it to us for free after that.
Yeah, and as soon as he knocked on the door and like asked, they just magically had our 2 grilled cheese.
I don't think they wanted to come out because it was raining.
That's true.
So don't buy from Sonic.
In Arkansas.
Yeah.
But we went to... we got a hotel close to Dallas, I think. I don't even know if we made it.
It was in Dallas area.
But the whole time Josh was like, do we need to stop? Do we need to stop? I'm like, no, like, I'm good. Like, it's okay. We finally stopped. That night was literally awful. Like, just coughing so hard, didn't sleep, sweating, and that we tried to get sleep. So we didn't leave till like the checkout time, which was like 11. And thankfully, like, we hadn't really ate anything. And obviously during COVID, hotels don't have breakfast right now. And so we stopped to get like late breakfast, early lunch. But where we were was pretty busy, right? I remember just that whole thing taking a really long time for some reason. It's probably because I couldn't make up my mind, but...
Yeah, we went to like... I think you wanted
I
Starbucks, and that was like the line was like 2 hours long, and then we went to McDonald's, and that took a long time, and then we went to Target.
And we went to Target because... like, I really wasn't feeling good, and we never had a thermometer or a pulse ox with us. So he went in to go get one of those, where we could just have it, just in case. And I mean, obviously we already know I was running a fever and stuff, but just to have it, which was a God thing that we got it ahead of time, because say by that time it's like 12 o'clock, we finally get on the interstate. The whole time, was it raining?
Yeah.
Like, literally from when we left to the next day, just raining. And then...
cold rain.
Yeah, we get to Big Springs, Texas, and all of a sudden, like, traffic comes to a stop. And do you want to explain that part?
Yeah, it just like the weather kept getting worse and worse and worse, and then when we got to like near Big Springs, it started snowing, and I was like, we're in Texas, it's not gonna be that bad. But then it like started to blizzard, like out of nowhere.
Literally nowhere.
And so, all the cars pretty much had to stop on the interstates because they're not used to it in Texas.
Or they kept going and they wound up in a ditch because there was like cars everywhere around us, like in ditches. And that was probably around, I think, 3:30 p.m.
Yeah, 3:30 p.m. we came to a stop on the interstate.
And we inched some, and then we would just stop. And it was like, oh, hopefully y'all didn't hear that, but that was not us. That was somebody out in the hallway in the hotel room. But yeah, it just like kept snowing, and we're like, oh, like, that's cool, something cool that happened. And then, we didn't move, and it's like 9 p.m. at night, and the snow is already like piled around our car. I don't know, probably like 2 feet at that time. I don't really know.
Yeah, it got pretty high.
And we couldn't go anywhere. Like everyone was literally stuck. And, you know, I'm sick. You know, he's not like, he had a headache, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But he was like trying to give me food and water because like I needed to eat and stuff. And needless to say, we ran out of food and water. And, you know, like in the middle of the night, like we still hadn't moved. And when did you call 911?
It's like, I think around 11 p.m.
And I remember parts of it. I think my oxygen was already low and my brain wasn't working. But he calls 911 to see, like, you know, we've been stopped for like a good bit now. Like, do they even know? Or he was like, in case, like, my wife doesn't need you, but in case she does, like, are y'all able to get to her? And, you know, they're like, yeah, like traffic stopped.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we're fixing it. It's almost, there's like a bad accident right in front of you. We're getting it finished up right now.
So they didn't seem too...
Yeah, they didn't seem too concerned about it.
Yeah. And I think I guess they only had like one snowplow. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I wake up and it's like 7:30 a.m. and Josh is like, we're moving. Josh didn't sleep all night. And he hasn't really been able to sleep at night anyways because I've been probably keeping him up. He's like, why are you coughing? I'm like, I'm sick, Josh. But we finally start moving at 7:30 a.m. that next day. And during the night, like Josh would go to all the cars, like walk through the snow and be like, hey, like y'all know what's going on. Like no one had knew because this was so different for Texas. But thankfully we got to move. And since we were out of food and water, even like our cooler, we have like a really nice cooler and the ice in there had melted. And we like had drank all that ice or all that water that like had melted. So we literally didn't have anything. And Josh was running off Mountain Dew. And I remember he had zebra cakes, but he was like all out of those.
Yeah.
Healthy guy right here. But we couldn't get off at exits because the snow was like, that part hadn't been plowed yet. But thankfully we were behind a big truck. And we got off the exit like right behind him. And, you know, Josh was like, I need to get you food and water. So we couldn't get into the gas station parking lots. There was like 3 gas stations near. Well, we got one on one side of the road, but it was like closed. Or all the other gas stations were closed other than like the one of them. So he just literally like parks in the middle of the road because there's not that much traffic. And he like runs to the gas station, gets some food and water and come back. Well, during that time, it was like really hard to breathe. Like I can't explain it. And I checked my pulse ox and it said 86. And usually 94 to 100 is good. Or that is good, 94 to 100%. And I was at 86. But I don't know, it was like, oh, like I really need to go to the hospital. So when Josh got back, I told him I was 86 and he was like, so we're supposed to go to the hospital, right? Or I don't even remember, to be honest. But Josh looked up on his phone the hospital, and the whole time, like obviously God had been with us because we weren't in a ditch somewhere, because literally like all the cars were. And our little car, obviously we don't have snow tires, so.
It was my professional driving.
Yeah, he did really good driving. I would have not been okay if I was driving, or we would have not been okay. But Josh did really good, and he stayed awake the whole time to watch and stuff. Because there's other cars like trying to pass us or turn around, and they would get stuck, and they would try to like spin, or like their tires would just spin and like right beside our car. It was like really scary. But anyways, he looks up on his phone where a hospital is, like the nearest hospital. And it just so happened, it was a God thing, that it was literally on that exit that we were already off of. Because if we were trying to get back on the interstate or go to another exit, like there would have been no way. So it just so happened to be on that exit. And the whole way from the gas station to the hospital was plowed. Like we didn't have any trouble. And we get to the hospital, and, you know, I am very weak at this point, and cold or anything would like set off my coughing. And so Josh went to go get a wheelchair from inside and wheels me in, and like as soon as the cold hits and the wind, I literally just lose it, like just coughing. I couldn't stop. It was really hard to breathe. I felt like I couldn't, like somebody was just stopping me. And by the time we got in, I was literally like gasping for air. But the God thing is there was nobody in the emergency room, which is crazy right now because I work in a hospital. Like, emergency room is packed. There was nobody in there, but unfortunately Josh couldn't come back with me. And honestly, at that point, like, I don't even remember because I was gasping for air, and I was like, I just like need air. And they wheeled me back in immediately. Like, there was 4 people around me. They put like 2 needles in my wrist. They gave me like oxygen, and after that I really don't remember, but I do remember them telling me my oxygen was 79% and I had a temp of 103.8, I believe. Yeah, 103.8. So they immediately were giving me fluids and antibiotics. They put me on like a non-rebreather mask where I was getting like 100% oxygen, and it was, I kind of just like woke up. I don't really remember. I remember like bits and pieces, but I woke up and I remember like I didn't have my phone to get in touch with Josh, like to tell him, like, hey, I'm feeling better or whatever. Like, I just needed oxygen. But the doctor comes in and he's like, we're going to admit you. And I'm like, what? Like, I already knew that Josh wouldn't be able to go with me. So I cried, and I didn't have my phone. I couldn't reach him. So I was like, can y'all please like tell him? And they said I finally got up to the floor, the COVID floor, and the doctor came in right away and was like, you're going to be here 5 days. Like, he told the game plan. He was like, you need the plasma with the COVID antibodies, 5 doses. And all my lab work showed that I also had a bloodstream infection, which is sepsis, which I don't really know where that came in. I don't know if that's part of COVID. I still to this day have no idea, unless I just happened to get it. But so I still didn't have my phone. Obviously my mom was in touch, or Josh was in touch with my mom. My mom called, like, checking on me and stuff, and Josh brought my phone. Well, he couldn't bring my phone up, but he would have to go. Where were you going?
I went to go get some lunch or something.
But I'm saying, like, you just went to the emergency room. Is that where,
Yeah.
like, you dropped off?
Mm-hmm.
So he would, like, drop off the things, and he went and got me, like, clothes and, like, all the things I needed, and my phone and charger, Bible, books, whatever, to keep me busy. And I get up there, I'm still really weak. Literally, like, any inch of movement, or if I say one word, like, it was really hard to breathe. I was still on oxygen, but I would, like, still cough like crazy. And anyways, they got everything going. And, sitting in the hospital, you start, especially being by yourself, like, you start thinking, like, what is this? Like, I was thinking, like, why am I here? The thing at the other emergency room is the guy was like, oh, you're 25, like, you'll be fine, like, you'll recover quickly. And I'm sitting here like, I'm literally in the hospital now, like, with oxygen on. Like, how in the world did this happen? And once I got my phone, I was in touch with Josh and my mom and stuff, and the doctor was super good. And during this whole time, Josh he went and got a hotel room, like, nearby, and he had to start work. This was New Year's Day. So he had to start work that following Monday. And another God thing is Brother Ronnie Bearfield from Unity Baptist Church in Ripley, Mississippi. I still don't know, like, how this happened, but I believe he got in touch with somebody in Texas that, like, knew somebody that got Josh's information and let him stay in the prophet's chamber for free at their church at Trinity Baptist Church. And that was, like, a God thing because, we were there for at least 5 days. So that's, like, already a huge hotel cost. And it would have been a cheap one because, we know Josh. And I'm just kidding. So, and I mean, the area was super small. So they didn't have, like, nice hotels, or they just had the normal, like, Super 8. And so that's what he was going to stay in. But his work requires, like, really good Wi-Fi. So that wouldn't work out. But the prophet's chamber was, like, amazing. And their youth group gave, like, a huge donation and gift cards to Josh to take care of him while he was there. And, that's another God thing because, I'm in the hospital, but I always cook for him and get him things. And, I mean, he lives off cereal. Like, he can live off cereal. But, it was really nice for them to do that. And we're super thankful. And so in the hotel room, everything starts not settling down, but everything's stable. And, code blues and rapid responses are going off. And I'm sitting here like, Lord, like, I don't understand. And I opened my Bible to Psalms 3:5. And in the verse, it says, at the end, it says, he sustained me, I believe is like the wording for it. And I know for a fact that the Lord was with me in the hospital, and the Lord was with Josh, and he was sustaining us. And, later on in Psalms, it was talking about like the breath of, I'm just paraphrasing, but it talked about your breath, like he gives you that breath of life. And, sitting there like struggling to breathe, like I knew the Lord sustained me. I knew he was giving me those breaths, where it wasn't something like too crazy that happened, and I was in the ICU or something. The Lord was with me and with Josh, even though we weren't able to be together. But that was really hard because, I wanted Josh, and like I needed somebody there, to be an advocate or just to sit there. But just being in your hospital room with nobody, and the nurses are super busy. They like rarely check on you unless it's like to give you meds. They kept giving me bacon, which I'm allergic to pork, like literally bacon like every breakfast, and barbecue pork sandwich. So Josh, like, and the greatest husband he is, would bring me like McAllister soup, or he brought me like several stuff. So that was really nice that, still getting good meals, even though they were trying to bring me or feed me bacon, but they didn't want that because that would be bad. But anyways, so everything starts looking up. My lungs were still weak, but the doctor was like, I know that you're going to take care of yourself. 5 days, like I think you're going to do better out of here. And so I finally got to go home after 5 days. Josh came and picked me up. We stayed in the prophet's chamber till Friday, but even during that week, like, for example, like other God things, he would try to use like the Subway gift card that the church gave him. And they would just be like, no, like, it's on us. Or we try to use it when we left Friday night. Again, driving through the middle of the night. I don't know why we like to do that, but it's good for him. He likes it. But we stopped at Subway, and they didn't have like a gift card thing. So they're like, oh, like, it's on us. And it's like, Lord, like you're blessing us so much. Like, why? Like, what did we do to deserve this? And we don't deserve it, but that's just how good God is, and he's been so good. And we finally get back to the house, and I feel like still in shock. We were supposed to be back January 3rd, and we didn't get back till almost like a month after. It's like January,
it's like the 10th or something
10th or something like that. So it was and we just celebrated 5 months. 6 months and 2 days. Yep. That's cool. 5 months, and we have already learned so much about each other, but God has been good, and that was kind of our Christmas adventure. I'm sure I'm leaving out something. I'm sorry this is long. Please forgive me. I don't know how long this has been going. Oh, 28 minutes. Yikes. Well, if you made it this far, congratulations. But that's our story. So welcome to our life, and hopefully you can join us on all of our adventures that we will post.